Hi, I am Dr. Emily Souza Bernini, and this roundtable is a collaboration between the third Semana de Ciência, Tecnologia, Extensão e Inclusão Social and the Núcleo de Línguas, Cultura e Estudos Linguísticos of IFPB Campus Sousa.
Hi, I am Ms. Denise Costa. The aim of this roundtable is to both illuminate international research being developed in our campus and demonstrate how English can be used by professionals to access and share information, academic traditions, and scientific findings from around the world.
As you've noticed, this roundtable is going to be conducted in língua franca English. And for the ones who are not familiar with the term, it is English used for international purposes, communication purposes. And according to RITE 2015, língua franca English allows for interference of mother tongue in terms of pronunciation, grammar, and even vocabulary. Língua franca English is a language that allows you to not pursue, it drops the pursuit of becoming a perfect or an ideal English speaker, which, by the way, doesn't even exist. And instead, we pursue becoming an effective English speaker, a person who is going to use that language to communicate with people from different parts of the world, be it Japan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Haiti, or Brazil.
Today, we have 3 areas of knowledge that will be discussed here, okay? Chemistry, veterinary, and environmental engineering. Represented by Dr. Lex Soares.
Hello.
Dr. Francisco Leo.
Hi, everyone.
And Dr. José Guimarães.
Hello.
Now we're going to start with Dr. Lex Soares, who is a professor here at IFPB Campus Sousa, professor of chemistry. So I would like you to explain to us about the research that you initiated here in Brazil and then you developed it abroad and the role of English in the process.
Okay, so I started to study English a long time ago when I was in elementary school, and I studied English in Brazil for 7 years, and after that I had an opportunity to travel and study, do part of my master's degree in Austin, Texas, and that I could even improve much more my English. And the fact that I speak English opened up the main doors and the main windows in my life. For example, I was in my master's degree and I went to a congress, and I knew a professor from the University of Texas there, and he came to my poster and made me some questions. They asked me some questions about the work that I developed and that I was present in that moment. And after that, he invited me to go to do part of my master's degree there, but he make me this question. But to go to work in my group, you have to prepare a presentation, a lecture for tomorrow, and this lecture is for 45 minutes. And after this presentation, I'm gonna make you questions, and I'm gonna see if you speak English in a good level. And so that time I was really nervous, but at the end, I achieved the goals that I wanted, and Professor Paulo Ferreira gave me the acceptance letters, and I could study there. It was an amazing experience in my life. And from I worked with nanomaterials, and I was using some materials to using cement slurry, something in the oil in petroleum industry. And from the work that I developed in my master's degree, I published 3 papers in English. So we really need to write in English, not only speak English. We have to write in a high level in English, because to write scientific papers, you have to have a really good level in the writing skill. And from my master's degree, I have one patent that actually this patent Petrobras used to make the cementation, to carry on the cementation of an oil well here in Rio Grande do Norte. And after that, I came to Brazil and I started to do my PhD. In my PhD, I changed the subject, I changed the area, the major area, and I started to study catalysis, which is really a really good, important area in chemistry, where from the 96% of all the chemistry process around the world, like petroleum, pharmaceutics, and 95% uses catalysts. So it's really, really, really important to the world economy. And I had other opportunity to go to Spain, and I lived in Valencia for 1 year and 6 months, and that I could even learn Spanish too. And I published some papers, like 4 papers, and in English, of course. And I could travel, like presenting my work. I went to a congress in Bulgaria, Sofia in Bulgaria, Florence, Italy. I write some points that I visit, making presentations. Oviedo in Spain, Ouro Preto, and Rio de Janeiro here in Brazil. So, and all of these places I just went because I speak English. If I didn't speak English, I couldn't go to this place. So that's it.
Thank you for your answer. You said, and I published 4 more papers in English, of course. And this is very interesting because actually there are statistics that show that much more. I'm leveling it down, but more than 80% of all the papers in the world are published today in English. And it is important that our audience understands that when you read a published paper about chemistry or environmental engineer, veterinary, it's probably someone that is not from an English-speaking country that wrote that paper. It is important to know that there are people from different parts of the world, like Dr. Lex Soares in Brazil, who write in English, and that's why we call it língua franca, the language used by everyone in different parts of the world to share, as Denise well put in the beginning, information, academic traditions, and scientific findings. Thank you very much.
Yes, Professor Emily. And to make this term like língua franca, English, more clear, for example, when I was in USA, I worked with 2 friends from China, 1 from India, other one from South Korea, Portugal, and one from Canada. So all of us, we spoke English that time, and we could understand each other in English.
I have a comment about that because in our classes, yes, Emily, we teach also about the English as a língua franca. And this conception is so important to our students to understand the meaning of English in all the world. And your answer tell us that. Thank you.
I have a question for Professor Leck. Professor Leck, you are still collaborating with international advisors and having some collaboration, some papers in working right now, or you are not able to produce more English publications due to your current job here in Sousa?
Good question, Professor Francisco Leo. I usually say that a PhD never ends. So the we have to put a dot in to finish, but we can study that. We could study that subject, our area, for a long time. And the main papers that I have to publish is still, we are still working on it, because my professor in Spain is really tough, and I am like, sometimes I get really stressed because I want these papers to put in my CV, my curriculum, and for example, to pass in this public selection that I am working now, professor in this institute. The papers that I published helped me a lot. But if I had the other papers, I would be in a better position. Understand? So I still collaborate with the professor from the United States of America and with the professor in Spain. We are in touch, and that's it. I still have contact, and it's really important. I want to do a postdoctorate there, and that's it.
I did this question just because I know that you want to keep this collaboration with another researchers abroad, and you probably have some students that have interest to continue your research. So maybe some students in the Sousa campus will enter in contact with you to 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 let to understand how can contribute and how can be part of this research that you are continue to perform. Okay, thank you for your answer.
Now we have a question for our Professor Dr. Francisco Leo. And could you share with us about the partnership you currently have with Southern Illinois University, the research you developed, and the role of English allowing is transnational approach?
Thank you for your question, Denise. Okay, my partnership is with a Brazilian professor that works in Southern Illinois. His name is Professor Eduardo Gastal. And our work wants to develop some important aspects regarding folliculogenesis, regarding reproductive subjects in animals, mainly in mares and cows, okay? So our job wants to improve our current index regarding reproduction, improving the in vitro culture environments to turn this in vitro culture environment so productive as the in vivo environment in animals, and also compare the models between animals and humans regarding, for example, diseases like cancer in women. For example, if you have a young woman committed by a cancer and she wants to reproduce after a treatment, after a cancer treatment that is very toxic and destroys the population, the ovarian population, so we can remove the ovary from this female and conserve this material in cryosystems, decreasing the temperature in very low levels. So after this process, we can thaw this material and reintroduce this material in the male to reintroduce the possibility of reproduction. That is my job. It's one of the parts of my job. So we need to work with in vitro culture, we need to work with cryopreservation and transplantation of biomaterial. All these techniques are called ART, assisted reproductive technologies. And that's why we are working right now in this partnership in the USA. So my research right now is in developing, because we have just few studies in mares developing this technique. And my current advisor, my co-advisor, is one of the most important researchers in this area around the world. So our partnership is very important for me, for him, and for our campus, because we can improve this technique and also improve the knowledge about these techniques. And finally, the role of English in this process is mandatory, because once I need to talk with him all the times, discussing manuscripts in English, and also we have some co-advisor students, even Americans. I need to explain for these students what I want to develop. And during this process, I have a lot of meetings using Skype and Google Meet to explain what we need to do and organize the workflow. All this process for sure are doing using English skills. So that is the importance that I use English. Sometimes we need to participate of congresses and roundtables like this one, and using English all the time and speaking with other researchers too. So that is the importance of English in my current role as a co-advisor of American students.
Let me just comment on something that is very personal. I'm so touched by your job, as you said, because actually I had lymphoma before I had my children, and I went under chemotherapy. And I remember that my doctor said that there was this possibility of being able to have children, and that was something very scary. But God helped me, and I have two beautiful daughters. And this is so important what you're doing, because, us women, this was like, the maternity was the best thing in my life. And I'm so grateful to God that, I had cancer and I went through chemotherapy and I was able, but many women aren't able to get pregnant and have children. So this is very beautiful, actually, what you're developing with this partnership, because it brings hope to many women. So congratulations.
I have a comment too, okay, related to this touching, talk about how the pregnancy is important to some people, and related to your job. I think that is amazing. I don't have any words to describe that. So I will have another comment about the power of language too. If you do not have this power related to English, related to communication, probably you do not develop that type of research. So English, it is a tool that you have to communicate and develop this type of research and develop this type of information. So thanks about all the things that you are doing.
No, I just want to thank you for Professor Emily, Professor Denise, to recognize the importance of this job. Sometimes you think that we are doing it so distant from the practical aspects, and you see that it's not. Sometimes we have colleagues that facing this process, and what you are doing now can help in these colleagues and other colleagues in a soon future. That's the idea. So thank you again. That's the goal of this kind of roll table.
I'm going to ask Dr. José Guimarães about something related to the current scenario, this pandemic scenario. I would like to know if there is any research that you're developing or that is calling your attention in relation with the relationship between the environmental engineering and the pandemic situation. And I would like to comment on how English helps you be updated and always be in touch with new information.
So in the beginning of 2019, we developed a nucleus of study here in the IFPB Campus Sousa that was about the recycling or the reuse of some materials that we used to throw away from our homes. And we got to understand that we have some things, they don't have a price, but they do have a value. I used to make fun with our students to say that if we have a broken watch, it may not have a price, but it maybe has some value if it's for my grandfather or something like that. So for us, right now in the pandemics, we see by studying some English resources, some English articles, that the consumption of us, the persons, the people around the world, are increasing very high. So along the consumption, it's also increased the waste itself. But in the waste itself, we gotta make these two choices of element. If this waste, it has a value or it has not. And we are not talking about ourselves, but someone else that lives from taking something valuable from the garbage. So by realizing this for a few years, as I'm living here in Sousa, we see that nobody really cares to make this selective about your garbage. So we create the núcleo retransformar that we study this, how we can transform our garbage to recycle it in order to give them this pack of waste to the people that will collect it and sell in order to recycle, or maybe we could take this product, this waste, in order to reuse, to make ornaments, something like that. For example, I changed the scenario for today, but that was 3 or 4 magazines that I didn't like so much to read. So I made this panel right behind me. And with this pandemic scenario, we see by some data, international data, that it's about 20 up to 50% the increase in the waste, in the garbage. And when we come here to our reality, we don't have this kind of sensitive about the garbage. As you use what is inside, I don't care what really happens when it goes away. And we also have this lack of the correct disposal or of the correct destination of this garbage itself. Garbage that would have some value for some people. So I am in this current scenario. I am trying to keep the work that I am already doing. That is this attention in the main municipal waste management, to make people believe that what they waste, what they would throw away, maybe it's money for someone else.
In the 2 times that I lived abroad, we had the selective collection of garbage. I don't know if I say that in English, but it was the first time that I would, separate plastic and paper and all those things. And I lived there the first time I went for 2 years in California. When I came back to Brazil, I remember that I felt so bad to put everything together in the trash. We don't think about it because we don't have this experience of separating. We don't have. I think that maybe we should have more awareness about that. And one impressive thing that information that you brought to us today is that the increase during the pandemic, because I would think it would go down, but then it's increasing a lot, as you said. So it's crazy.
Yes, what we had, it's the industrial and the commerce, it had a decrease. The industry, in a way, they reduced their production, but the products was already there. So it was kind of a snowball of buying. If I don't leave home, so I will buy more. I will take more showers. So I will use more air conditioner. So the consumption of natural resources, as we may make this relation about energy, electrical energy to water. As long as you use energy, electrical energy, you are releasing water from the hydroelectrics in order to roll the turbines. I don't know right now the word, but it's all connected. The industries got a little bit reduced, but us as people, as consumers, are buying a lot. And I just remember that some investigations shows that the coronavirus, it stays about 10 days within the surfaces of some materials. So you gotta have this attention, because if you have this garbage you throw away and the person out there does not have some gloves or any attention about his own health, we keep this cycle of contamination going ahead.
I haven't thought about this. It is very important what you're bringing today. Like, I haven't thought about, when we put our trash out, there is a possibility. We need to be careful with the workers that work with the garbage as well, right? The people who will be in contact with our garbage. Also, I would like to know just the role of English, in contact with all this current and updated information.
Yes, so this kind of study here in some areas in Brazil, we really don't have. We just have some data from IBGE, but right now it's all stopped. It's not have been any research about here in Brazil specifically about this increase. So this kind of information we only have out there. For example, I was seeing that in Wuhan, the main city that started all this situation, or whatever, maybe it's changed about Bangladesh or India. I saw some research recently. But over there, it was about 40 tons of garbage per day. And within the pandemics, it increased for 240. And we say about millions and millions of masks. These masks, we do not have any. This mask, once you use it, it does not have any value. It's garbage itself. So about the techniques, we gotta burn it, then we have it, whatever. But some kind of garbage, healthy waste, we really should burn it up. But here in Brazil, don't have too much. Sometimes we use some burn in other industry, mineral in the industry, or iron, this kind of industry itself, that use some big cookers. I just forgot the name. But without English, I wouldn't have known something like this, the garbage itself, some information that is concerning all about the world, the management of municipal waste.
So, José Guimarães, Professor José Guimarães, you talked about reuse the garbage, and as I have just mentioned, have just talked when I was talking about my research, the research that I developed. I I did something really important in the way of sustainable attitudes. I used the rice husk biomass. I take this rice husk and I burn it. I got the ash. So the ash, I did some treatment and I mixed it with a special cement, which is used to do the cementation of oil or petroleum wells. And after that, we got really good properties from this cement slurry. And Petrobras made the patent of this technology. And as I said to you, it's like it's a sustainable technology. It's a green following the green chemistry principles, and that's it. And congratulations for your research.
Thanks. And I just remember also, like, Professor, like that, how do I say casca of fruits?
Peel.
Peel. We have many studies of fruits peel, just like in maracuja. And there is a research from the Federal Institute of Rio Grande do Sul that one student from the ensino médio, it used the peel of maracuja to make some kind of plastic, because once you are going to plant, you put it inside, but the plastic itself will be absorbed by the plant, by the nature itself. So I really like this kind of stuff, the transformation, the something that used to be a waste, but it's not. Right now, it will begin the chain of some other production itself.
May I? Okay. I would like to congratulate Professor José Neto about your job. My question is about how he realized as a environmental engineer, how other disciplines can collaborate with the environment. For example, I comment as a veterinarian that the veterinarians industry sometimes is seen as a villain, because we know that all the dairy industry and poultry industry and swine industries and bovine industries, all these the livestock industries are seen as a villain, because the production of CO2, a lot of material, a lot of dejects, I don't know how to say that, a lot of dejects, a lot of biomaterial produced. So our area have a lot of concerns and trying to do the serious ones are trying to do the best job as they can to mitigate this process and produce materials in a good way. Okay, so I know that we have for small and large cities, small actions. For example, I participate for a project that built some shelter, dogs and cats shelters, using PET bottles and some reused material. But it's just so few studies for the cities, how to how can you realize how veterinarians working in cities can contribute to mitigate this this scenario of increasing in uh, uh, trash production and wasting material that, as you mentioned it, have some profitable value. Okay.
Thanks, Professor Francisco Leo. So, as you started your question, I just realized that sometimes in the past I have some problem, some communication problem. I would say that, because as an environmental engineer, I don't have the sensitive sometimes to talk with someone that could be more maybe humble, I would say. So this kind of this kind of work, it is more suitable for some social scientists. So as long as you have the problematics, the will to change something, and we study that, in order to talk with the people itself, it comes the social scientist that say, oh, look that this is garbage. It does not have any value, but this here it has. Let's separate these things. Cardboard, uh, plastic, aluminum. We use it to make fun that say that bottle cans, it has life itself, because once you throw it away, it always appears someone that would catch it. But I talk about dignity, that someone does not need to pull all over his arm into a plastic garbage in order to take it off some can. We can give dignity to these people. For example, I used to have an idea to use the cardboard itself that used to go away, to let it through, to make the signs of education, some educational statement. Please separate me. I am available for someone else, and put this thing around the EF and whatever. But I have some lack of work within the students. And about the veterinary, I was remember, Professor Francisco, the first case of coronavirus within a cat. And I don't know right now about the dogs, if it has some case within it. But when you first questioned me, I was thinking about the garbage that could have the coronavirus over there about 10 days. Some students point even 2 weeks. So this interaction we have here in Sousa, it's kind of a municipal problem. The animals in the street. We have materials about 10 dogs. We have too much cat, and so I wonder if this kind of relation. Hey, people, maybe we have to make a quarantine of our own garbage. Put the garbage over there. Let's wait 10 days. Then we'll throw away, because we have to make an obstacle to these street animals. So I was thinking about that. How are the pets in his relation within the coronavirus?
Okay, there are no students showing the interspecies transmission. Okay, we have a lot of different coronavirus interspecies. So we have the coronavirus from cats, coronavirus from dogs, and a lot of coronavirus. But this coronavirus 19, that is our coronavirus, we don't have a interspecies comprovation. We have just a situation in cats, as you mentioned it, that the coronavirus is in cat, but cat is working as a vector just transporting the virus, but not being affected by the virus in producing a disease. Okay, so it's just for clarification.
Francisco Leo, but is there an exotic animal in Asia that is an interspecies of coronavirus? And I heard a lot some days ago about the bat too. Can you let the situation more clear for us?
Just a minute. Also, I also read something about the pangolin, that it's kind of a tattoo, that it has some armadura. I don't know, an animal itself. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of SARS-CoV-19. I really.
Okay, we have this hypothesis. Okay, this is an hypothesis. There is no, despite we have some evidences, we cannot still affirm with 100% that this coronavirus came from a bat or a family of bats. But you are right when you're talking about the possibility of interspecies contamination. Once this virus is very, very, very mutagenic, so he can change this formation, he can change this affinity for one particular species, for example, wild animals, and then accidentally being transmitted for humans. And once we increasing his affinity, starting producing disease. So once we have a lot of interactions with wild animals, and once we are destroying his natural environments, as we observed currently in Pantanal, for example, we starting to destroy his original environments, and this natural virus and other diseases, a lot of them, can be accidentally transmitted for humans producing diseases. That's what probably happened with coronavirus.
Very good. This interdisciplinary conversation that we just had here, and it was interesting how Dr. José Guimarães said, you know, I used to have some problems. I used to have problems with communication, and this roundtable shows that it's very important to step out of our, you know, comfort zone, of our bubbles, of our area of knowledge, like myself and Denise included, who are from the linguistics perspective, and understand the other areas and communicate. And as you can see, we were able to do that today. I just want to thank, I just want to say that our campus of IFPB Campus Sousa is very, you know, lucky to have such high-skilled, high-qualified professionals working here and being professors. The students are so lucky to have you, and we are. And it is important to say that this is just a portion of the professionals we have in the campus that also speak English as lingua franca, that also conduct research here and outside, myself included. So I just want to remind our audience that lingua franca English is used with that purpose of sharing information. And again, we're very proud of our identity. We're very proud of being Brazilians, of speaking Portuguese from the Northeast, in our case here. And English is not superior, it's not more complex, it's just a language for communication international. It's just a language that allow scientists, you know, to share their scientific findings and to share important information for the entire world, as it is the case of all the research that's being presented here today by the three doctors. So I just want to thank you very much.
I want to thank you too, because these interviews are so amazing, and I want to be your student too. Okay, I will be clear here, because you have so much information that I didn't know about it. So here I learned so much with the information that you brought to us. And related to English, this language allows us to divide this type of information with the world. So these three researchers are so incredible and are in our campus. So it is the information that the students have the opportunity to get and to participate in and everything and go abroad. So thank you so much. This is a wonderful time that we have here today.
Okay, so this was our roundtable Pesquisas Internacionais no IFPB Campus Sousa, Conversas Interdisciplinares em inglês, língua franca. I hope you liked it, or our audience, and I hope to see you on the next CETIS.